Hi everybody, Craig here. Welcome to episode 3 of my 6-player free-for-all Age of Wonders 3 playthrough series. In this series, I'm playing against 5 Emperor AI that are each on their own separate team, and I'm playing as the Orc Warlord, Crognash the Brutal. In our last episode, we acquired another hero, in this case, a Dreadnought hero who has some very interesting characteristics, Dominus the Vampire King. And he has this name because he has lifesteal, but he also happens to be undead. You can see that right here. So he cannot regenerate health. He has no means of healing himself other than lifesteal. But he does have Dominate and Control Undead, which is the main reason that I decided to take him as a hero. So we acquired Dominus. We were able to continue working with our city here, our vassal city of Toldran. And then we are also in the process of working on acquiring Carbonok as another vassal city for us, and that will be happening in a couple of turns. But in the meantime here, we have to figure out what to do with the rest of our units. We obviously have to continue leveling up and exploring, but I'm not exactly sure where we're going to go from here, so we'll have to kind of figure that out this episode. Now, before I dive in, I did just want to give a couple of quick shout-outs to a few individuals who left some excellent comments on the last episode. The first of those is from Casper Eklund. And Casper pointed out that in regards to this hero here, in regards to Dominus, Casper kind of said that he wasn't sure if he would have taken the hero, maybe not the greatest idea, but he did say that he understood why I took him. And he pointed out that Dominate, right here, is actually the strongest of the mind control effects, so things like Charm or Convert. You can see here that it has a 13 spirit resistance check, which is much higher than, I believe Charm has a check of 9, and I think Convert has a 10, although feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. What I do know, though, is that Dominate is a much higher check, meaning that it is a higher likelihood of working. Now, the other thing that's interesting about Dominate, it has a 3-turn cooldown, which is unique amongst the other mind control effects because, or the other mind control abilities, I should say, because the other ones are 1 use per battle. So that's kind of interesting. Now, Casper points that out and basically indicates that Dominate is the strongest of them, and therefore it is kind of a nice thing to have for our new hero. Casper also points out that I'm going to have to play my cards right in regards to dealing with this hero, because unfortunately this lifesteal to heal kind of attribute is really kind of a gimmick. So in reality, it's probably not going to work very well as a means to heal Dominus. So I'm really going to have to be very careful with him and try to avoid any kind of damage, because obviously lifesteal isn't a very optimal way to heal oneself. So big thank you to Casper for pointing that out. The next comment comes from Victor Sapko, and Victor points out kind of the same thing that Casper did, which is that obviously with Dominus here, I'm going to have to be very, very careful, because obviously any damage that he takes is going to be very hard to heal. But Victor also points out that Dominate here only works for 3 turns. You can see that. Attempts to take control of target enemy unit for 3 turns, meaning that once I have the mind controlled, it's actually not permanent. This is, again, kind of, I guess, maybe the way to offset the fact that Dominate is a stronger ability than Charm or Convert. And those, of course, are 1-time use per battle, but they're permanent unless you break control or kill the unit that inflicted it on the other unit. So what Victor points out is that since this only lasts for 3 turns, and the cooldown is 3 turns, it doesn't really make sense to try to Dominate at the beginning of a battle, because the battle may go longer than the 3 turns. Therefore, I should probably wait until I have the battle firmly in hand and I've got the unit that I want to dominate weakened or cursed or something like that, and then use it. And that way I don't risk running out of time on the conversion. So big thank you to Victor for pointing that out, as that's, again, an excellent point. All right, so at the end of last episode here, we had kind of just, I think we cleared out this mana node, and we actually acquired a Wisp using Dominate, which was cool. That's actually the only unit, I pointed this out last episode, that's currently our only unit that does elemental damage. All of our other units do purely physical damage. So we need to kind of figure out how we want to arrange our stacks here. So obviously, I still don't think we really have the means to have our heroes each leading their own stack. I think we're going to have to keep them as kind of a bit of a hodgepodge group at the moment. So I think we will just kind of do that. Now, as for Dominus here, I guess we can move him up. We're going to keep him kind of next to our stack here, I think, for now. It's not going to be the prettiest thing ever, but it is going to help ensure that Dominus is able to do what he needs to do without hopefully getting killed or damaged too greatly. Now, I just want to double check. I don't think we have any active quests. We did finish this one. We completed End the Undead Scourge in the last episode. We acquired this Orc Greatsword, but we don't have any active quests, so I think we're basically good to go. I need to kind of think about, though, where the heck am I going to go with my units? Because I've obviously got a few choices here. I'm probably going to make this city a vassal, Carbanock. I'm going to make it a vassal once I'm able to. Of course, it's going to cost some gold, so I'm going to have to save up for that. In the meantime, though, I should probably continue to explore either around these cities and do some more clearing, or alternatively, I suppose I could head further east here. Either that, or I could head north along this road here, and we've actually got the incentive for me to head north is that we've got the hasteberry bush here, some uncleared out structures kind of on the way up, and then we've got another hasteberry bush up here. So we've actually got some pretty good movement aiding boosts here on the way north. So that wouldn't take as long as it sort of would appear just to go wandering over there. Now, with this Wisp, I'm pretty tempted to use it just as a scout at this point. And the reason for that is because obviously there's a lot of unexplored area around my throne and around these other two cities. So we've actually now finished Raised Militia, which is great. That means that we can start gaining additional units without having to use our production here in the city. The only caveat, of course, with this is that it's going to cost us a little bit of our population growth. We're growing at 288 population per turn, which means that every time we cast this, we're losing 100. So in some of these turns, we're only going to be growing by 188 instead of 288. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Might be a good idea to try and grab a storehouse here fairly soon to kind of offset that cost. We're going to have our temple here next turn as well. So now I have to decide, where do I go and how should I best approach this? Well, before I do that, let's actually take a look at what we've got in the domain of our vassal city here. So we've got a trading post that's guarded by a very strong army. We've got 2 Tigran Sphinxes here, which are tier 3 irregular units. They do a lot of fire damage with their sun disk attacks, so that's kind of scary. And then we've got an item rack here guarded by not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Draconian Flyers. So that's going to be a bit of a big yikes to attack. Fortunately, these only do physical damage, but with their mobility, that's pretty scary as they are flying units. And then we've got 2 Draconian Flamers who can do quite a bit of fire damage, so that's pretty scary. This particular structure, this quarry, is guarded by 3 Eagle Riders, a Brew Brother, and an Adventurer. Potentially a hidden unit as well that I might not be able to see. So this is quite the tall order to try to go and clear these out at this point. So that's probably not the greatest idea. I'm going to see, so the Wisp can maybe start heading over here and doing a little bit of clearing. Or exploring, I should say. And I think in the meantime, I'm going to send my stack north. Ooh, the only issue is that... see, this is kind of annoying, because if I want to grab the hasteberries, I'm not going to be able to do it with the whole stack, because I've got 7 units. So I'm going to have to probably incorporate my hero in there and leave somebody behind. So I think I'm going to leave the Greatsword behind, unfortunately. And I'll move my hero in. We'll grab the hasteberries, and then we'll continue north up here. And I think we're gonna try out this battle with these Draconians. It's gonna be difficult because we're up against some fire damage, and our 1 unit is not going to be very useful in this fight, unfortunately, as a result of Dominus basically having to hang back thanks to his being undead. So that's not so good. Now with this unit, I guess maybe I'll just continue to follow them up north here. I have to be careful. I don't want this unit getting jumped by roaming units, but I think he'll be okay for now. So let's engage this battle. We can actually maybe engage it with Urkan here. So this will we're going to grab the evil points because we need them, and it would be nice to try to dominate one of these units if possible. And this is going to actually be a very challenging battle just because of the fire damage that's going to be coming our way. So I suspect we're going to have to rely on some spells to aid us in this battle. So our Black Knight is probably going to be our primary sort of damage sink unit here to try to do some tanking. And we're going to buff our Black Knight as we've kind of done a few times now. We're going to buff it with Last Stand. So that's going to provide extra resistance and extra defense when it's in guard mode, or when it's in defense mode, I should say. And it also just gives a flat defense boost as well as first strike, which is quite nice. Now our Orc Grunt is going to be sort of our secondary tank, and then our Spearman here is going to be sort of in reserve there to do some damage. Fortunately, with Sprint, Throw Javelin, and Warcry, we can kind of... there's a lot we can actually do with this unit. Now with Crognash here, Crognash is going to move up as well, I think. Actually, we don't want to group our units up because of that Draconian Flamer. I almost forgot about that. So we don't want our units too close together. And then Dominus here can hang back and kind of wait until things cool off just a touch. Meaning that we've got a few less units kind of roaming around up here. Now, our Black Knight can move up just a smidge. And then with Urkan here, I think... Actually, we could try a Berserk on somebody here. We've got a 40% chance on the Raptor, 45% chance on the Hatchlings. You know what? Let's try it on the Flamers. Oh, they resisted. That's a shame. I was really hoping that would work because that would have made it such that they would kind of engage their fellow units in melee rather than using their firebomb attack. Alright, so I think what we'll do instead is we'll just kind of move our units up like that. And we're going to... Again, just be cautious and see what happens. I suppose I could have moved Urkan up, actually. That might have been a better move. Oof, I don't like all that extra damage that's being inflicted on me. It's not very nice. Okay, so we've got these Draconian Crushers who are in desperate need of death. We've got these Raptors who are currently assailing our Grunts. Now, the question is, do I throw a Last Stand maybe on the Grunts? I think I will. Just throw them in defense mode. And now, the big question is, I wonder how much damage our Spear does if we actually get in good range here. Dang, and they have projectile resistance, which is going to make it quite the pain to kill them off, actually. So let's see what we do for damage there. Not a great amount of damage, unfortunately. Crognash can move up a bit. We can actually get the kill, which would be ideal. And they're not going to be able to get around on us, so that'll actually be okay. Now, unfortunately, we're going to take some massive damage from these Hatchlings, I think. I don't know if there's going to really be much a good way for us to avoid that at this point. So Dominus can kind of just move up a little bit. So this Black Knight, we could go and engage the Hatchling. My only concern is... You know what? I think we'll do it. I think we'll move up like this, and we'll put ourselves in defense mode because we're going to take a lot of damage, I suspect, here. Okay, Firebomb coming that way. Fire Spit. Okay, our shield unit, or our Spearmen managed to tank that pretty well. Alright, all in all, not too bad. That actually was relatively painless. Now, the only problem is that if I want to get Dominus in the fight here, I kind of have to risk him taking a little bit of damage. So I think what we'll do is we'll actually move him up like this. And we'll do some damage just to get them to turn around. And then what happens if we melee? How much damage do we... Oh, I actually do quite a bit. We'll throw our Warcry on, and we'll finish them off like that. Now, the only issue is these Flamers up here who are quite the annoyance for us at the moment. We're going to finish off these Hatchlings. Very nice. Move our Grunt up and throw him in defense mode. And I'm actually kind of tempted to have Crognash charge in there. The only problem with this is that if I do that, he's then going to be kind of open to a flank attack, which might actually do some pretty good damage to him. So I think I'm going to hold off on that. Urkan, on the other hand, can actually charge right in. I suppose one thing we could have done is cast a spell with Dominus, but I think we'll just have to hold off on that. And I think with Crognash, I'm trying to decide if I want to actually go and engage here. I wonder how much damage he would potentially take from these hatchlings. They could turn him around, which would be a bit of a problem. Like, I was going to go charge into these flamers, but I really don't think that's actually going to be that wise on my part. So maybe instead I'll just have him kind of go over here like this and just hang out. So we're going to take some damage here for sure. Oof. You can see how much... Ouch. You can see how much damage we took there. That was actually quite a lot. Alright, so now let's try for the Draconian Flamer. Nice, and the Dominate worked. That is fantastic. Very, very nice. And now we can basically finish off the hatchling here. Try and get a little experience with our brand new unit. We'll send Crognash over to get some experience. Very nice. A little bit with Urkan as well. And then we'll get the finish with our Black Knight. So we did take quite a bit of damage in this battle, but we were able to acquire ourselves a brand new unit, which is very, very nice. Okay. And we got some extra gold, which we're going to need if we're going to vassal that other city there. So we can actually start forming ourselves a little bit of a unit. What's nice about this Draconian Flamer is that we finally now have someone who does something other than physical damage. So that is very nice to have. And we did get a level up here with Urkan. So with Urkan, I'm actually kind of focusing more on having him be more of a fighter than anything else. So I think I'm actually going to, and a caster actually, as odd as that is to think of a Warlord as a caster, I'm actually going to grab Warfare 2 to give him more casting points. And then I'm going to upgrade his hit points just a touch. Because we're going to have Urkan be a little bit more of a battle-ready hero rather than a support hero. Alright, so now this stack's pretty much done moving, so we're just going to group up like this. Now we have to decide what comes next for research. So we've actually got quite a array of options here. I'm still going to wait on Embrace Darkness because I want us to be evil before we do this, or else all of our leader and hero units will become dedicated to evil and we won't be ready for that, and we'll actually take a morale penalty as we're currently neutral. So I'm going to wait to do that one. Produce Berserker could be nice to just start kind of going down the pathway of being able to produce additional units, which I'm eventually going to want my Manticore Riders. Swap Locations here is a combat spell from the Wild Magic Adept specialization that I have. Target unit trades place with a random unit of the same tier owned by another player on the other side of the battle. Units climbing on walls cannot swap locations. So this one I was thinking would be kind of cool if we're sieging a city eventually. That would be a fun one to have. Another option here is I grab Warfare so that I can start casting like Raise Militia in every turn rather than having to wait a turn in between. Because that would give us 30 and this is 30 to cast. And then obviously we could start doing Warrior Culture and Conqueror. You know, Conqueror, very expensive, but there is some benefit to having Conqueror earlier in the game because obviously the earlier you get it, the more benefit your units get from getting additional XP. Mab's Boon will come in handy once we start migrating cities, which I don't think is going to happen just yet. And quite frankly, I'm not really looking forward to having something for 10 or 18 turns researching. So I got to kind of think about this. I think we'll go, you really can't go wrong going down the research tree for additional units. So I think for now I'm going to just do that. Because we're eventually going to need them anyway, so might as well get that going. And then maybe once we have a little bit more research income, I can start doing those other Empire upgrades. So that we'll end our turn there. So I'm very fortunate to have this Draconian Elder. He's going to be a huge benefit to me. Or excuse me, this Draconian Flamer, I should say. course, eventually I'm going to want to try to clear these structures, but at the moment I just don't think I'm quite there yet in terms of strength. So when we have this, when our turn rolls around here, we are going to cast Raise Militia, and we're going to grab another Orc Spearman from this city. And that will actually give us some fairly decent units, or a decent amount of units here to start maybe building a second stack for Dominus to potentially lead, or for Urkan eventually to start leading by himself as well. We can always kind of shift Urkan back to being a support hero if we need it. Okay, we have an alliance proposal here from Carbonok, which we are going to accept, absolutely. So we get a lot more income, and just having that extra vassal city is fantastic for us. So we're going to cast Raise Militia here. Very nice. So now we have ourselves a Spearman. We also have this Impaler, who I kind of at this point haven't really done much with. I think I'm actually going to send the Impaler out from the city rather than the Spearman. Just to have another kind of fairly decent melee unit here. We'll send him up this way. These units can kind of start grouping up. We'll send our Wisp kind of over this way. Oh, and I'm glad I did that, because check this out. We've got some nasties that need to die here. We've got some scoundrels and a brigand hideout that needs to be cleansed. So we'll send our unit into the mountains here just to protect it a little bit from those roving units. Now, unfortunately, it looks like they're gonna be able to get to our throne relatively quickly. So I'm actually gonna send the Greatsword. Ooh, and he can't make it all the way back on his own, can he? No. That's unfortunate. So yeah, we're gonna have to see if maybe we can send him back. I'll send him over here just so that he's kind of out of the way. But we are gonna want a unit there on the city for sure. Alright, so let's think about what we want to actually build in our throne now. So we have just enough gold that we could actually do a storehouse. However, I think it might also be nice to have a laboratory just to increase our research income at this point. Our knowledge income, I should say. So I'm going to do a laboratory first because it's painfully slow right now. We only have 28 knowledge income at the moment. So it'd be nice to get that going a bit faster. Boy, I'm a little scared of these units. I really don't want them to come and siege my city, and they very well might. So that's not so good. Alright, but let's not worry about that at the moment. We're going to focus on our main stack here. We've got our 3 heroes who I'm eventually going to split them up. I'm thinking I'm probably going to split Urkan off first, but we'll have to see. So maybe I actually don't want him being more of a fighter type hero. Start giving him like defense command and all those things. So I'm just looking at this. This is going to be a pretty difficult battle as we've got a lot of units here that do elemental damage of some kind or another. Our units are healthy, but this Black Knight isn't fully healed. We could try it now that we have this Flamer. I think he's going to be quite the unit to have here in this instance. So I think we might be able to get away with this. So let's give it a try. This is still going to be quite the challenge for us, but all right, well, let's give it a shot here. And again, that Draconian Flamer is going to have to do some work, that's for sure. Now, unfortunately, this Flamer is kind of vulnerable over on the side here. Thankfully, they didn't try to attack us just yet, so we're going to bring him back to kind of help out. And we're going to use our Grunt, I think, this time as our resident meat shield here. So we're going to throw Last Stand on our Grunt. And we're actually running really low on mana, so we have to be really careful with our spell casting at this point. I'm quite glad that I researched that temple. And oh, and I forgot, I was going to grab an Orc Priest, which I think I might do as well. Once I'm finished that laboratory, I'll get a Priest going. Okay, and of course I don't want my units too grouped up because we've got that breath attack potentially coming at us. So we'll kind of spread them out just a touch like this. Of course, we want our Grunt to soak up the hits. So fortunately, we can also kind of benefit from the terrain a little bit here, which is nice. So our Spearman can also maybe advance a little bit here. I want my Flamer kind of in the area so he can help out. Urkan can kind of move up because he's a bit tougher thanks to some of those upgrades. Alright, so let's see here if they decide to push on me. Oh, threw a weakened on Urkan. I'm actually glad he didn't throw that on my grunts there, because they're the ones going to be sort of tanking the damage. Alright, so we've got some Blight Tusk Boar that need to die. So I'm going to oblige them here with Crognash. There we go. And then, oh, and unfortunately that didn't quite turn them enough to get a flank here, so I'm actually going to use Sprint. And, ooh, you know what, though? That's going to leave me really open to some hits from these Lost Souls. So maybe how much damage can we do with our throw? Probably not enough to kill. You know what, we're going to cruise over here. And can we go here? Yeah, we can, and we can flank. We didn't get the kill, unfortunately, but that's actually okay, because I think what we're going to do is we're just going to get the kill with Dominus, be kind of safe there. We're going to move up with our Flamer, and we should be able to do some pretty big damage to these Lost Souls here. I'm not going to get the kill necessarily, but we will do some pretty reasonable damage. There we go. And then I'm going to park my Black Knight right there to sort of protect a little bit. And our Grunt's going to sit like that, and we are going to not even go near this Blight Elemental with Urkan, who's now weak to Blight damage. So we're gonna charge Urkan back a little bit here. I don't really want him in the fight. Now that he's been weakened, of course. Ooh, and they went after my... Okay, there was a... Ooh, and they're going after my Flamers, as I kind of thought they might. Urkan can blast the Nightmare there with some big damage. And then, actually, Dominus here can go for these Lost Souls. Okay, so they just straight up died. And we could probably put our Spearman here on the... Actually, we can probably get the kill. Let's try for it. Not very nice. So now we're going to need our Black Knight to help out with this Blight Elemental, that is for sure. Unfortunately, I think the Blight Elemental... I thought it had a Gas Breath attack. That's what I was kind of like all concerned about. It'll be able to weaken again, which it might try to do. This Grunt is going to kind of be at risk, but we're going to keep our Flamer out of the way because we really don't want to lose that Flamer now that we've just acquired him. We'll send Crognash in like that. So I'm hoping he attacks here, but my guess is he's going to go after somebody else. Oof. Almost killed off my Spearman, which is not very nice of him. We're going to move in like this, and we're going to do a nice flank attack with our Warcry on. And you know what? Actually, I should have tried to... Can I dominate? Oh, I have a 95% chance to dominate. Let's do that. I shouldn't have done any damage to him there, but that's all right. Very nice. So we were able to acquire ourselves a Lesser Blight Elemental, so we are now gradually improving our ability, and we're getting a Blight Elemental as a gift from that, so we will take that for sure. We also got some gold there, which is excellent. So now we actually have the ability to do some pretty decent elemental damage finally, so this is actually going very well for us. Now Dominus has an upgrade here, and we have a few options with him. I think the first thing I'm going to give him is Guardian Flame, which gives him the ability to heal units. Now he can't heal himself, of course, but he can heal other units that are alive, and he also, when he does this in battle, it will give them plus 40% fire protection, and the unit's melee attacks deal plus 2 fire damage. So we're going to grab Guardian Flame, and then we're also going to grab Forge Aprons, I think. We can also grab Wizard Hunters eventually, and a few other upgrades that are going to be very useful. Very nice. Okay, so now what do we do with this stack? So, yeah, I'm kind of thinking now we might want to start splitting this off into separate stacks here. I think we're going to drop Urkan off because I want to keep Crognash and Dominus together, because Dominus is going to be Control Undeading and Dominating to gain additional units. This battle might be a little bit tough for us at the moment, as we are a little bit beat up. But with our Blight Elemental, and we could even bring the Flamer in, I think we'll be able to maybe handle it. So let's move everybody over. We'll actually leave behind this Spearman who's kind of beat up at the moment. We can bring our Flamer in as well. I suppose we could just have him in the battle, whether or not we end up using him. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so now let's engage this battle. Still pretty challenging, but I think we can manage it. We're going to probably try and dominate one of those knights, if at all possible. And what I could do is I could actually use weakening on one of these knights, potentially, and that would give me a better chance to dominate them, as it does decrease their resistance. So that's quite nice. Let's move this Blight Elemental up, and we can actually, we'll throw it on the crossbowman just to throw it, because it does, there's a cooldown on it, but it comes back, which is going to be good for us. So our Grunt is going to move up. Now, unfortunately, we aren't really going to be able to use spells, I don't think, in this battle, because if I look, I guess we can use Last Stand. It's only 7 mana. Let's throw it on our Grunt, because our Grunt's going to be up front kind of again. And actually, we now have the ability to heal somebody, which is ideal. So we're going to throw that on our Black Knight. Very nice. Yeah, that's our first healing ability, so that's very, very good. And another reason to keep Dominus in the stack, actually. Crognash, we're going to move up like this. Okay. So now we've actually got 2 units that technically have a polearm. Our Grunt does because of Last Stand. You can see First Strike and polearm. And our Black Knight also has a polearm. So we're going to be better equipped to deal with their knights there. So we're going to move ourselves up. We're going to do some damage there to the unit that we've weakened. And again, I'm fully expecting them to just come kind of charging in here at some point. Okay. Urkan can kind of move up like this. Oh, and I don't want to be right next to that Blight Elemental because it is disgusting. So we'll move it out like that. And then Dominus can again just kind of hang back. Crognash can move up as well. Alright, let's see what they decide to do here. Okay, going after my cavalry a little bit. No worries there. So the knights are starting to kind of flank around this way, which means I'm going to have to move these units out of the way, because obviously don't want them getting decimated all by themselves over there. Okay, so let's deal with what's in front of us over here first, I think. First things first, really they've only got the one ranged unit, I think. Yeah, the only ranged unit is the crossbowman. So I can actually get my Vampire King into the action here and try and take out the crossbowman. Very nice. Okay, that's a huge boost for us there. So now we've got these long swordsmen, and then we've obviously got the 2 knights who are going to be quite annoying to deal with. Fortunately, you can see there how much damage my units do to their knights and how little they do to me. So I'm actually not that concerned about the knights all in all. But I am going to have to be sort of careful here, because I don't want Dominus getting attacked from behind here. So I'm going to just move in like this. And then I'm going to just throw my grunts in defense. And I'm actually going to move over like this and throw my knight in defense as well. So that way, in order to come in, they're going to have to get attacked by the grunt or the Black Knight, and they'll still end up having to... even if they go after Crognash, they're going to take some punishment for it, for their trouble. Now, this unit here, I'm actually going to, again, retreat back over this way. I don't want them getting attacked or killed or anything like that. The Blight Elemental, on the other hand, I think I can probably just... Let's see, I could... you know what, I'll throw a weaken on this Knight, because why not? And then I don't think the... I should have actually maybe moved these a little differently so they could still attack. But that's alright. We're good there. Oof. Boy, they tanked that damage really good. But now we have to rescue them because they're in danger, obviously, as they currently stand. It's actually, I should have probably thrown a weakened on one of these two, because I'm going to have a better chance to actually potentially get them on my team here. So we'll go over like this, and then we'll move here. So we'll turn them around. Very nice. And then I'm going to bring... Now, how far in can these charge? Oof, that's actually kind of nasty. What kind of melee damage do we take? Ooh, not great. Our Blight Elemental, we don't want our Blight Elemental going down. Now, the good thing is this unit is weakened, so we could actually just cruise over and throw ourselves in defense mode with our Blight Elemental and probably be okay. So let's move our Spearmen over and kill off the Longswordsman. Very good. Okay. Now, we're going to want to try and dominate one of these Knights here. We got a 60% chance to give that a shot. Alternatively, what's our shot over here? Only 55% chance because that Knight is in defense mode. So I think we're going to give it a shot on this Knight. However, before we do that, let's just see what kind of damage do we do. Okay, we can actually kill off this Knight just outright. Even with a low roll, this Knight is dead. So that's not really a worry. So I think we'll do that maybe. Let's kill this Knight off. Very good. And then now we can move Crognash around this way. And then let's try for the Dominate. We got it! Yes! Very nice. Okay. Fantastic. Now I can bring my Grunt over to block this unit a little bit. And my Blight Elemental... Let's see, what kind of thing does he have here? I'm going to put my Blight Elemental... Again, what kind of damage do I take here? Quite a bit, but I think we'll be alright. I'm going to throw myself in defense mode there. And then I'm going to retreat back like this. So we could still conceivably come and kill my Flamer with where he's standing. So maybe I'll step one more back. Okay. I suspect he's going to probably try and go for my Spearmen there. Yeah, okay, so they went down. Not the end of the world, obviously, because those aren't exactly a super, powerful unit or anything. More than happy to sacrifice them to get my hands on this Knight. So now we'll just do some damage here. And we're going to cruise around like this. Turn them around there. And then throw on a War Cry and bing, bang, boom. Very nice. Now with Crognash, we're going to roll in and blast them a little bit. Same thing with Urkan here. And Dominus can do the same as well. Big blast there. And then our Black Knight here can come in and actually get probably the kill, even with a War Cry there. That's going to be very devastating. Excellent. So we got ourselves a Knight. We did lose that Spearman, but we got ourselves a Knight, which is going to make a huge difference. That's our first tier 3 unit now. So Numbing Hand of Winter's Hex. Epic usable item. Freezing Touch. Attempts to freeze target enemy unit. Frozen units cannot take any action. Now, I was tempted to sell this, but I'm almost thinking that this might be nice because it could allow us to drag out a battle and try for some additional Dominate or something like that. So I think I'm going to actually take it, just so that I kind of have it as an option. I'm going to send this to Crognash here. Alright, so now I got to kind of figure out how do I want to rejuggle my units, because obviously this is quite the hodgepodge at the moment. Crognash has a level up here. It's currently at level 5. We could go Range Command, we could go Charge Command. I think Charge Command might be kind of nice, because that'll give some of our other units charge, like our infantry. So maybe we'll do that. Very nice. And this Blight Elemental requires my orders. So Urkan, we're, I think, almost definitely going to break off here and have him lead his own little stack. Remembering that when we have him break off, we're not going to have Last Stand anymore with Crognash's stack. So just something to remember. Although we now have healing, which is great from Dominus. Let's think about this a little bit more. So we're definitely having this Blight Elemental in the party. We're gonna definitely have this group here as well. We probably want the Knight. Well, actually, this Black Knight's probably going to be our, Vanguard in this stack. So with Urkan's stack, we could have another Blight Elemental, the Flamer, the Human Knight, and then maybe the Impaler or something, and that would be a pretty decent little stack. So I think we'll be able to manage all right. So we'll send this guy in with Urkan here. And the Knight can join Urkan probably as well. Either that or maybe the Flamer should go with this stack. I'm gonna have to think about that one. I mean, I've got a turn now to wait before I decide all that, so we'll do this. Because right now we've got elemental damage, we've got one ranged unit and then 2 heroes. So we don't have enough mana to start summoning another unit, so we'll have to wait a bit. Alright, now the big question here, is our throne going to get attacked? I really hope not. We'll have to wait, excuse me, we will have to wait until all of our opponents have already done their turn here, and then we'll see what the independents do. What I'm really scared of is that these scoundrels are going to attack my city, and unfortunately, because I have a city wall, they're going to be able to do damage to it. Now, they all have wall climbing, if I'm not mistaken. They do, so they may not attack and do damage to the wall. They may just try and climb it, which might be my saving grace here. And the whole point, I'm going to try to use my unit here to... Oh, okay, thank goodness. So he's putzing around down there, but he's not going to actually, attack me just yet. Oof, but this needs to get cleared out, like, ASAP. You can see there we've got all these scoundrels guarding it. Okay, the City of Toldran actually has a quest available, and they'd like to potentially join me. So let's hear more about your quest. Ooh, we could get ourselves a shock trooper. That would be ideal. Okay, we are going to accept this quest. Absolutely, we are going to do that for you. And all we have to do is take out all of these martyrs. Fantastic. Wow, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Looks like there's another spawner over here as well. Okay, and we did have an item arrive. That was the Numbing Hand of Winter's Hex. Freezing Touch there. So, now I have to kind of decide here. How do I want to do this? Like I said, I was going to send my stack just over this way and go clear this out, which I'm eventually going to need to do. I obviously need to go clear this out too. And when I'm done this, I think I'm going to grab seafaring so that if I need to get across this river, I can. Basic seafaring so that my units can embark, I think would be a good choice. Alright, so let's kind of think about this. So now we've got our throne, and obviously it needs some protection here. Alright. So this is going to be our main stack. We're going to send this over to deal with the quest. That's pretty much a certainty, I think. Because we're going to need a decently powerful unit to take out all these martyrs. Now, let's see. Who wants to go with this stack? Having 2 Blight Elementals in this stack might be kind of nice, as they sort of can kind of double weaken and double poison. So maybe we do that, as kind of goofy as that might be. The other option, of course, is we give the Blight Elemental to this stack, but they do have the Flamer, who can do some fire damage. And the Knight is going to be a pretty decent fighter, obviously. What the heck, yeah, let's do it. So Blight Elementals, let's just take a look. Now, unfortunately, they are weak to Spirit, which means that they're going to have a bit of an issue with these Martyrs who can shoot Spirit at them. They're also weak to Fire. So actually, maybe... Well, yeah, we'll just roll with that. I think we'll be able to manage it. Now, this stack, on the other hand, probably best to send them down to clear this out because it's near my throne city and needs to be cleared out. It's just unfortunate because we also need to get up and clear this out too. But as it stands, I don't think we have enough to really deal with that. So we're going to send this unit down like this. This Knight is going to come join them. And this guy here. So we're unfortunately going to have to now kind of shift Urkan over to being more of a support hero, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means... And for now, I'm going to throw this greatsword there just to guard the throne. Our scout, on the other hand... I think we can probably just keep scouting a little bit. We'll kind of stay in the water here. Some gold we can try to grab. Do I want to risk going on the bridge? I don't think so. I'm going to stay in the water. Don't want that wisp getting killed. We could raise militia to grab another unit. Let's see. What do we have now? We've got 4 units in the stack. We're going to need him to be a little bit better healer. So when Urkan levels up next, I think I might grab the field medic upgrade. I'll have to see. It's going to be kind of a tough call. So one of these 2 units is going to go and join Urkan. Probably the Spearman because he's got a ranged attack, I guess. Although the Greatsword might be nice, but we do have the Impaler as another melee unit there. So, and then obviously once this is done, the laboratory, I think I will shell out to get a Priest. And I can add the Priest in with Urkan. So that's going to be the game plan there. Now, the question is, do I want Raised Militia to grab another unit? I think for now we're going to be okay. So I'm going to end my turn there. Boy, acquiring a couple of those, a couple of units that can deal elemental damage via Dominate has just really kind of improved my potential quite a bit here, which is very nice for me. So with this little wisp, I'm probably just going to continue to keep exploring kind of over here. I think I mean, the wisp is really ideally equipped for that, as it can fly, and that means I can take it over the water and mountains and whatnot. So it's really a well-equipped scout. Oh, and these things are kind of putzing around my throne, which means that I'm going to need to take them out eventually. I don't like them being there, obviously. Okay, so we've got the ability to produce berserkers now, but to do that, I think we need to build a gladiator. Oh no, I guess we can probably do it already. Do we produce them with... Oh, there it is, Orc Berserker. So we could make one right now if necessary, but we're going to do a priest because we really need one. It's a shame because they're 90, which means they're going to take 2 turns, but we're going to do a priest just so that we have the elemental damage extra with Urkan here. Now, with this stack, I could grab the haste berries to get over there more quickly, which I might actually do. The only problem is I've only got 4 units in the stack, which is going to be a bit of a challenge against this, as it currently sort of stands. So maybe I save the haste berries for the way back. I think they respawn in like 5 turns, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, can I get a look at it and see? It doesn't say. I think it's 5 turns, but I'm not sure exactly how long. What the heck? Let's grab it. Oh, it's only 3 turns. Okay, that's not that bad. I guess that makes sense because I grabbed it on my way up, and it definitely hasn't been 5 turns since then. So now the question is, do I head down here to try to deal with these units or head over here? I think I'm maybe going to try and deal with these units first rather than dealing with that. And then that'll give me time to acquire an extra unit to make this battle a little bit easier when I'm over here. So that's what we'll do. So let's grab that gold. And there's another city over here we can go make friends with. Or actually, even better, we can go and attack. And we can try and migrate the city. So this is an elven outpost, and they're not very happy with us. High elven outpost. So that's great. We can actually go over there, migrate the city, and hopefully get some evil points going. Okay, so let's go deal with this quest. And on our way by, I want to just take a quick little peek at what's in this circus tent. So we've got Human Archer, Halfling Jester, Frostling Harpoon Thrower, and a Tigran Prowler. I don't particularly need any of these units at the moment, so I'm not going to worry about that. Alright, there we go. So now let's initiate the battle with Crognash himself. We will do this battle manually, as we do really want to... We're going to see if maybe we can dominate one of these units. So that spirit damage is going to be a bit of an issue for us. So let's just take a look at these units. So the Orc Martyr has Throw Javelin. The High Elf Martyr throws stones. The Human Martyr is the one that has Spirit Blast. The Dwarf Martyr throws stones, and the High Elf Martyr throws stones. So it's just the two human ones who are stone throwers. So those are the two we're going to kind of have to try and take out. Now, what kind of melee damage do these units do? Really not much. So that's not too bad. It's just these human ones that are going to be the problem. So, how to approach this battle? This is a bit of a tricky situation in that. Let's see, what kind of damage, first of all, can we do with our musket? Actually, quite a bit. So, I think maybe we'll... I don't necessarily want to just rush right in there right away. That might be kind of a dangerous endeavor. But I think I can safely get my Black Knight in there, as he's a very, very powerful unit like that. And then we're obviously going to want our Grunt getting involved. We can even have our Blight Elemental maybe move in and back up the Black Knight, potentially. But we want this Human Martyr dealt with, because obviously that spirit damage is going to be devastating against our Blight Elementals who are weak to spirit. So maybe what we do is that we move... Maybe we move Dominus up like this. Ooh, it's risky sending him in, though. I don't really like doing that. We blast the Martyr like this. Very nice. We send our Blight Elemental right up in there. Disgust a couple of units. Throw them in defense mode. And then can we actually just get the kill with our crossbow? Possibly. Okay, perfect. We got that kill. Very nice. And now it's just one Human Martyr back there who can do the spirit damage, which is obviously going to be not good for us. And then with this guy, we can actually move up here and kind of just try and tank some damage. All right, let's see what happens here. Hopefully I didn't bork this horribly. Okay, our Black Knight's soaking up hits, doing a good job. Very, very good. Oh, excellent. Just tanking the damage like an absolute boss. Alright, so Dominus can now try for a Dominate. But before I do that, I think what I might do is throw a Weakened on this unit to make it just a bit easier. Whoops. Dominates. Now it's a 75% chance, just a touch better. So we'll do that. Ooh, and they resisted. I did get a lifesteal out of it, though, so that's kind of nice, but... It's unfortunate. I was hoping to gain them on my team, but we'll just have to kill them instead. I didn't think this kind of through the best here. My Black Knight's going to have to maybe... Oh, I don't know here. I have to kind of think about this. So we can pretty much guarantee this Orc Martyr's going to die. So we'll try that. Very good. Okay. So now we've got the Dwarf Martyr and the High Elf Martyr. Let's see. Dwarf Martyr, we'd have a good chance to kill. High Elf Martyr, we're pretty much guaranteed to kill. So let's go for the High Elf Martyr. Very nice. So this Dwarf Martyr is going to blast somebody in the butt. And unfortunately went for our Dominus. Now, here's where this freeze touch could actually come into play. Let's try it. Very good. Okay. Now we can kind of putz around a little bit. So we're gonna heal up our Black Knight, get our Elemental over here, and weaken the Martyr. And then we're gonna hopefully have our Dominate running again. Oh, 2 more turns. Yeah, that's unfortunately not gonna work. And how many times can we use this? Well, I suppose we could try it again here. Alternatively, we could just get the kill, which might be the better choice. So let's see. Do either of our Blight Elementals... They're doing pretty good for experience here. It'd be great to level them up, because obviously once they level up, they will eventually evolve into a full-fledged Blight Elemental, so that's quite nice. Dominus here has already leveled up this battle. Crognash could use some more experience, so let's just get the kill with him. I mean, I don't really need Martyrs that badly. Plus, we're about to get a Shock Trooper out of this, which is ideal. Very good. We're going to take that reward. Absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful. Tier 3 Orc Shock Trooper unit. Very powerful unit. Quite happy to have them. And I think we might be strong enough to start thinking about maybe clearing some of these structures. It would still be a bit of a challenge, but I think we could probably make it work. So let's do Dominus's level up here. So he eventually we're going to want him leading a stack. That's for sure. What kind of spells does he currently have? All he has is Repair Fortification, so not that useful a spell. Might be nice to, again, have him gain some slightly better spells to actually be able to do something in battle. Let's see if there's anything of value. Inflict Immolation is actually kind of nice in that if a unit gets immolated, it has -1 resistance, which means the Dominate would have a better chance of working. So, as much as I kind of hate to say it, I think this is actually going to be a decent choice for him. Because he's probably not going to be leading a stack of his own anytime soon. Not for a little while, anyway. So I think we're going to actually grab Inflict Immolation. Now, the only problem with this is that it's melee and ranged attacks. So we have only one ranged attack, and it's the musket, which only shoots once rather than a regular melee attack that would... Or, excuse me, a regular ranged attack like a bow or something that shoots 3 times. So if we get extra ranged attacks, we should try to give them probably to Dominus. So we're going to take it anyway. Again, maybe not the smartest thing, but I think it'll work. Alright, so now the question, do we proceed over here to clear these out, or do we head north, try in the Shadow Realm, or what's the best course of action here? This battle is going to be very tough, as we've got lots of elemental damage, lots of potential elemental damage between these two Sphinx. The Draconian battle I'm a little bit more optimistic about, but again, with the mobility here, they're going to be able to flank the heck out of me. So that wouldn't be very fun either. I got my work cut out for me kind of no matter what I try to do here. Not to mention, it's going to take a couple of turns to get through these mountain ranges to get over there. You know, it would almost be faster to go around at this point rather than try to go through here. I mean, you can see I can get up there in about the same amount of time, really. So you know what? Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll just go this way. There we go. And then with this unit, we could even do a little scouting. Obviously not too much, as we want to keep him close to this stack. We don't want him going down. Okay. Now, let's select our next set of research here. So you can see now with our extra research income, these are a lot quicker to get done. And Last Stand might also be a good choice now because we don't have Urkan helping us out in the main stack with Crognash. Warrior Culture would be actually pretty good. City migration time is cut in half, so that would be great as we're eventually going to be migrating that city. I've already mentioned Conqueror is helpful kind of early. Basic Seafaring would be nice to just get out of the way in case we need to go across the water. You know what? Let's do this, and then we'll worry about the other Empire upgrades. Now, let's take a look at the city one more time here. You know what? Let's start the spell. We can always cancel it if we don't want to cast it, but I think having the extra unit will be nice. What I hope happens is that these units decide to attack my little stack here. That would be kind of ideal. And once they do that, I can head over and clear this out. And then eventually I'm going to send this stack back up here, clear out this monster nest or whatever, Eldritch Pit or whatever that is. Clear that out, stop those units from attacking my vassal city over here. I'm really, really glad I used that Wisp to check this out because obviously having this right near my throne city is not ideal. I've definitely not been the most efficient with my movement so far in this episode. And that's partially due to the fact that I didn't do a very good job of scouting. Now, part of the reason for that is because I needed every single unit in most of these battles. But now that I've got a little bit more strength kind of under my belt, I think I'm going to be a little bit better equipped to actually do some scouting. Alright, and Toldran wants to join us again. I think we might actually accept that this turn. Now, what I notice here is that couple of units here popped out of the Shadow Realm, and it just so happens that I might be able to dominate one of these, possibly the Lesser Frost Elemental, and make a brand new friend, which would be ideal. So, I think what I'll do here is... I don't really need the Shock Trooper in this battle, but I will still send him up this way. Alright, so let's engage this battle. We'll use our Black Knight to do so. We'll do this one. And what we're going to try to do is just dominate the Frost Elemental. That's going to be kind of the whole objective of this particular battle. Alright, so we are going to light this Wisp up here. We want to do some big damage if possible. Just get the kill outright. Very good. So the Frost Elemental here has fire weakness, but 100% frost protection. A little bit of physical weakness as well, which actually bodes kind of well for us. The Shock Trooper here, though, we're gonna just keep him kind of out of the issue. Don't really need him in the battle too much. Now, what we will do, though, is we could drop a heal on somebody. I don't think anybody really necessarily needs the health at the moment. So maybe we'll actually save that for if someone does get hurt. Yeah. Oh, we do want to throw a weakened on this unit, though, if possible. Yes. Very nice. Okay. Okay. No worries there. Now we're going to take Dominus here, and we're going to go for the Dominate. Very nice. I just realized that Dominus and Dominate, that's probably why his name is Dominus. It's kind of a hint as to what his capabilities are. So now we've got this Lesser Frost Elemental who's going to be able to, again, do some extra elemental damage here. Freezing Touch, Frost Shard, and melee damage does some Frost. And of course has the capability to evolve into a full-fledged Frost Elemental. Very nice to have. Quite happy with that. Let's just take a quick peek into the Shadow Realm. That unit had to come from somewhere, so we're going to eventually... That looks like a Forbidden Sanctum right there. We're eventually going to have to do some exploring in there, but for now I think we're going to just try and clear out what's going on in the city. Now here's another thing I could do. I can actually accept this. I think it's time for you to join my empire. And then I can right away summon a unit there with Raised Militia, which might not be the worst plan. I'm just going to back out of that for a second. And of course, those units are trying to run off this way, which... not so fast, boys. We're going to engage them because I don't want them, again, running around and causing problems. So we're going to use our Knight. We're going to engage them, take them out, and then we're going to head over and try and get rid of that pesky scoundrel spawning structure there, the bandit's nest or whatever. Okay, so we're going to jump up with our flamer and do big damage here. Nice, and the lucky didn't proc, which I'm happy about. Attack the scoundrel and get the kill there. And let's see, can we actually outright get the kill with Urkan? Pretty much. Very nice. We'll throw our Impaler up front like that. And they're going to probably go after the hero, I'm guessing. Yep, as to be expected. Flamer can do some damage here. And then we want Urkan getting some experience. So we'll send him around behind. And he'll get the kill with his crossbow. Very nice. Perfect. Nice and clean there, and that takes care of that problem. Now we can head over this way as we're going to be going for the spawning structure there, which we don't need, giving us any future problems with additional units. So yeah, again, I've got a bit of a decision to make up here. Do I head around here and start trying to clear out the dungeon and the quarry and all these other structures? I think I'm probably going to. I think that's going to be what's going to serve me the best. And so, as part of that, I'm going to have them join my empire, and then I'm going to cast this on the city to at least have a unit to guard the city there. So what's great about that is now I have the capability to start producing some extra extra things that are going to benefit me. And yeah, very happy to have Toldran. That's a fantastic city here. You can see I've already got Magma Forge. I've got the Circus to make it happier. I've actually got 2 Magma Forges. And as it grows here, I'm going to get a gold mine. I've got an air node, which is helpful. And then if I can get this dungeon, imagine this. I get slaughter pits. I could build the slaughter pits, which give produced infantry units killing momentum and +2 melee, or +2 physical damage. I could start producing shock troopers out of here, and eventually, and they would just be, like, incredibly powerful. Very, very strong. So, this is definitely a city I'm very happy to have. Now, what do I want in this city at the moment? We've currently got the capability here to just produce our baseline units from a barracks. Let's think about this for a second. A shrine for some extra mana might not be the worst thing, although we're doing pretty good for mana income at the moment now. Extra knowledge would be decent to improve our research output. Warhol, again, getting closer to being able to produce our best units. And again, we do want those shock troopers. I think, though, I want the knowledge income, so I'm going to go for the laboratory at the moment. It's going to be my choice there. Hang on, how close are we to growing? 13 turns, so not just yet. And of course, we're going to need to go into the Shadow Realm eventually and figure out where that unit came from. So I think we will go over here. And we can actually send the Black Knight over here. And the Shock Trooper can come along as well. One of those Blight Elementals could grab the grab that chest there for some extra resources, but I think we'll not worry about that just now. Alright, and this little wisp can continue to do some exploring, I think, so maybe we'll head up here. Go into the woods. Ooh, and I didn't see... Oh, okay, that's the city guard. I thought that was a roaming unit. Got another brigand hideout here, which is going to need to get eliminated eventually. So, do that. So that's going to do it for this turn, and I think we will stop the episode there. We had some really, really good developments this episode. Obviously, acquiring a number of units like these Blight Elementals. We got our first Shock Trooper, Lesser Frost Elemental here, and Draconian Flamer and this Human Knight. So really, our Dominate is really paying off for us. It's kind of paying some pretty juicy dividends, which I'm quite happy about. So far, so good with that hero, even though he's kind of fragile and I have to be careful with him. He's really kind of paying off, I think. So, yeah, and there you can see our cities. We've now got Toldran in our control rather than being a vassal. We're going to save it here, as I said. This will be our 3rd episode. Very nice. Okay, so obviously we've still got a lot of work to do, and I have no idea kind of where our opponents are or how they're doing. But what I need to really start focusing on is gaining some extra cities, and I also want to start getting some evil points. And I think I'm going to use the city here of Lyrian, and I'm going to take it over and aggressively convert it. So I'll have the High Elves kind of hate me this playthrough, but that's actually just fine by me. If the High Elves don't like me, that's fine, because then I can get a lot of evil points from that and start working eventually on getting my Shadowborne upgrades, such as Embrace Darkness there to get Lifesteal. So that's going to be the plan going forward, and we're obviously going to keep gathering additional units with our Dominate. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for episode 3. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.